Alright, you guys have seen my attempt where I tried it with the Racing Dollar upgrade only, where I made it in terms of beating the speed barely, but then, I didn't have enough track, so I went off track. Well, if you have some gold to spare, you can throw them into upgrades like this particular instance. Yes, I have already won the car, but I figured that's on another device, and I'll recall from this other device and make a video just for the YouTube here. Because if you basically notice my upgrade status here, this is second tier gold upgrade all installed. And the third tier Racing Dollar that follows is also installed. So only reason why you see bodies down at 2 is because that's where you get the 2 Racing Dollar upgrades for first 2 tiers. So if I wanted to, I could put the third tier on, but that's 110 gold. Honestly, you don't need it. 140 PR or 140.6 PR is plenty enough to win this race. So let's jump in. There is one spot that you're gonna hit it, and it's not where you think it is. You'll see. I thought it was gonna be at the usual spot that I think of, but it turns out it wasn't. So there you go. Yes, the spot I tried going backwards, doing other places, but as you noticed from my earlier video where I never quite completed the goal, I figured that is the fastest section of this track, Grand Prix circuit. I did not realize it until I had to do this speed record. What do you know? You learned something. But look at that speed. That is an overkill if I've seen one, and I didn't even push that hard either. So obviously, you probably don't need this many upgrades to beat Magnus's speed. But as you know, his speed does adjust depending on how much upgrades you have on. Meaning if you put less upgrades on, his speed is faster. At least that's my observation. When you guys have seen my, if you do see my other video, you notice his the target speed is like 388 and change as opposed to 387 here. And of course now I have more upgrades on this car, which gives me more oomph, to get the job done with really a lot easier. So yeah. So this turn is the most important one. Maybe not the most important, but very important, because that's where you start building up speed. And then of course you have to make this turn full throttle. So if you don't, well, then you're not gonna have enough track to build up enough speed to beat Magnus's speed. Normally, I think this section has been the fastest, but as it turns out, it isn't, forward or backward. The turns that come at the end are just too sharp, so it's just not possible to carry enough speed to make the target goal. Anyway, so and since this track is Grand Prix circuit here, let's see if we can do. Should we do a walkthrough? Sure. Of course, the first corner you can go full throttle. In, let's see, the fourth goal, you cannot really do full throttle because there are other F14Ts in the way. So you kind of have to just lift up just enough. But you pretty much jumped right back in. So anyway, this is pretty straightforward up here. And then there's of course a sharp right turn coming up, and the braking point for that apex is, I like to think apex is quite a bit earlier than I used to think. So here, so I'm braking, I think about here when I start seeing that rumble strip on the left, so I can start making my cut across. So there you have to pretty much slow down. You cannot obviously put any onto gas because you will shoot off. You know, that's not where you want to head out. So you got to make the turn. And there you go. That's a good spot. Although at this point you might spin out because your car just does not have enough speed built up. And then you got to get ready for the next one right away. So I mean, it's not going to be really that much acceleration happening there. And this is a pretty sharp one. Also very early apex. Here you got to start initiating the turn. It's a bit of a blind turn because you obviously when you're racing you cannot really see where you're headed. So you really have to kind of trust your sense of your memory of the track to make sure that as soon as you start accelerating, probably about here maybe, really hug that left corner, and then pretty much this is all full throttle. Not that you need it in this particular race, but in any other race you will, because that's where you want to build up speed. And then this one, coming out a bit. For this one, I knew this wasn't gonna be the spot where I'm gonna set the speed record. So I started braking probably a little bit too early. You probably could push a little bit harder, but because I knew what I had to do, this one I just did not want to go off track by pushing too hard. So anyway, you can, you don't even have to brake. You can kind of let up on the gas and it'll kind of slow down on its own. And then here comes the beginning of the fastest section. Pretty much once you start accelerating on this, going into this corner, it's pretty much full throttle till you get the target speed. So this is the beginning of the fastest section of the track. So here we go. I'm making my, you kind of go far, swing out a little wide instead of cutting, hugging the corner tighter. Because obviously if you hug the corner, the right side too tight, then that's going to jeopardize your speed, because obviously the smaller the turning radius, lower your speed has to be to make the arc. Versus here, I pull out kind of here. Let's pull back just a little bit. So I swing pretty far out, and then I make this corner more into a straight path, at least as much as I can. So from here, as soon as I see the kind of the end of the right side rumble strip, I'm pretty much going faster. And this whole section is full throttle, one of the more exhilarating part of the track. And then here is a little tricky part. Once again, I feel like this is a little bit of a blind turn, because I'm just kind of going by the guess on this one. Although I've done it enough times now, I have a pretty good sense of where it is. So you start seeing kind of the end of the wall on the left, or on the right. Left, right, directions. This track has always given me trouble with the turn directions. Strikes again. Anyway, then when you see here, start making the turn, kind of, you don't see it coming, really. So you kind of have to assess by what you... because I'm making the initiation, as you can see from the tire track. I don't know, where is it? Is it about the end of the concrete where the speed rush sign is on the right? Let's see. Yeah. And then it changes to kind of a railing. And then if you follow the railing, hug the right corner here. And this is of course the fastest section. And then when I didn't have gold upgrades, I had to use all this section to, of course, build up enough speed to catch up. But obviously with gold upgrades, I had caught up with them long before. So from this point on, I'm just taking it easy, and making sure that I don't, go off track, making stupid, silly mistakes like that, because that wouldn't be good. Anyway, here, exiting this corner. This particular race, it doesn't matter, obviously, because I've already set the speed record. But in normal races, like Cup race, exiting here with this car, you want to have at least 330 kilometers per hour or more. Obviously, with more upgrades, you can hit more, but you certainly don't want to come under. I'm talking with cash upgrades only speed. So, like for the fourth goal, where you have to win the 2-lap race at the Grand Prix circuit, which was a lot of fun. This one is all full throttle as well. If you pretty much you want to start building up, you don't really need to brake through this section of the track. So the car, as you build up enough speed, you should have enough grip to help you guide, stay on track. Once again, the idea is racing the full track. If there's enough tarmac, and if you're not going all the way, that means you're not going fast enough. I know, it can be a little bit unnerving to do that, but hey, this is called racing, right? Can't drive like grandpa here. This section, you really don't need to brake. Pretty much as soon as you get to this rumble strip on the right, even before, with this car, you can start going full throttle, which is quite remarkable. Like probably from here, you can start going full throttle, and you will race full track. Obviously, I was driving very conservatively for this particular run at the end because I didn't need to go any faster. extremely slow. But anywho, there you have it. That's how you can make through the goal 3 of stage 8. Of course, 70 gold is what it takes to skip, and the rest of the goals you can make without spending any gold, which means you win 140 gold for going through the event, which means skipping one. You still get quite a bit of gold. I think it's 140. Is it 140 or 120? Maybe it's 120. Regardless, you still come out net gold gain with an incredibly fast car. The fastest car in the game. So yeah, not just fastest, but also the highest grip, so there you go. So good luck, and we'll see you in the next event. Good luck, guys.